What if I told you that the things you are chasing are not really what you're looking for? You think you're looking for the perfect job, the perfect partner, the perfect life. But you're looking for none of this. What you're really looking for is something far simpler, which took me 20 years to come to, so I want to share with you my journey today, so you don't have to take the longest route to arrive at the simplest truths of life. I was 16, and so many kids around me were already knew what they wanted to do. I alone was contemplative, always wondering, what is this life? What am I doing here? What is the meaning of all this success and ambition? Do people even understand what they're talking about? But it went on, and I was 19, and it was the time when I realized that I've been obedient. For far too long, I've always listened to my relatives, my family, my teachers. And I wasn't really making sense of life. I had to do something, so I quit my college, and I created a lot of turmoil in my family for doing that because they saw potential in me, and taking a break from studies to them felt like a big deal. To me also felt like a big deal, but I felt like I wasn't doing anything that I wanted to do. I did not even know what I wanted to do, and for me that was important to figure it out first, before just about doing anything. So I quit the college, and that's where my first lesson for you comes, is that when you're young, take risks, make mistakes. Don't make the same mistake again and again, but make new mistakes. Make as many mistakes as you can when you're young, and take as many risks as you can. Well, if you're older, of course, you can still take risks, but the advantage you have when you are young is that you have a lot of energy and a lot of time ahead of you to course correct. If anything goes wrong, you have a lot of time to correct your mistakes. If you're 50 already, you think more about taking risks. You calculate more. You can take risks any time in life, but there is something about youth. Someone said youth is wasted on the young, so don't waste it on yourself. When you are youth, you know. Explore life, make mistakes. That's my first lesson. So what happened? I did odd jobs. I worked as a medical representative. Then I worked as a call center employee. Then I started working with an NGO. In between, I did my master's, but 5 years into this, I again felt as if something was wrong in life. And what really took me there was that every morning, when I would wake up to get ready to work, I would feel like my heartbeat was really fast, or as if I'm skipping a breath. And this was a short sign of anxiety. And for me in life, stress, anxiety, depression, I take them very seriously. By that, what I mean is that I do not accept the idea that, the modern life is really hectic, and it's okay to be stressed. It's okay to be depressed sometimes, for me personally. It's not okay, so I go all in to make sure that I do what needs to be done, to get out and come back to the peaceful and calm life that I like to live. So I had to quit my job, and the job had good prospects. And my family and everybody around me started to think that now, maybe he's gonna settle down. Quote unquote, settle down now. Maybe he's on a right path. But I quit my job to travel, and it was 2015. Back in those days in India, it was not a big thing to backpack and travel. You wouldn't find YouTube channels where people were doing that. So everybody around me looked at me like a failure. And they thought I was being careless, being reckless, but all I wanted to do was to explore what life is and what I want to do in life. So for me, it was very important, but nobody understood it, and I didn't have much money. So my traveling style was very rugged. I would just sleep on the footpath. I will just eat with the homeless people. I will request the restaurant guys that after they're over with their work, can I sleep in their restaurant, stuff like that, and this is where my second lesson to you comes, that it is dangerous to care too much about other people's opinions. Other people say no to things, not because they're impossible, because they think it's impossible for them. They wouldn't do it, so they think anyone who would do it will fail. So we don't have to make it our reality. What is their fears? We also get afraid when we take such risks. But it's okay if your fear moves you in the right direction. So in life, you don't want to worry about other people's opinions. The other part of this thing is that other people are also not so much concerned about you. As much as you think they are, they have their own life problems just like you and I have. So they might pass a comment, or they might talk about you in the back. But no, nobody's head is filled with your thoughts. They are all filled with their own thoughts. So that's one thing that you must remember. Don't worry about other people's opinion. Do what you need to do. Nobody will regret on your behalf. Nobody will celebrate on your behalf. Nobody will sleep or eat on your behalf. So live your life, and as early as you can make sense of this statement. It will be better for you no matter what age you are in right now. Do not worry about what other people say. Ask yourself what you want to do and do it. You will be rewarded. What seems so intense at the moment is not so intense when you look retrospectively. So maybe try to see things from your future self. And tell yourself that, hey, it might not be so intense 5 years down the line. So why am I making it intense right now? Okay. All right, so let's continue. I moved to traveling, and traveling led me to owning a restaurant. So I ran a restaurant for a while. And then I moved to Romania, and I became a yoga teacher. And I stayed in Romania for 6 years. I taught yoga for 6 years, and I got into a very different kind of community in Europe. In Romania. And I learned some things there. One of the most important things that I learned in Romania was that there is no deep satisfaction in chasing endless material success. People all around me were chasing material success. They were all looking for happiness in the wrong places. They were thinking that the bigger car or the latest iPhone or moving to a posh area of town will bring them more happiness and peace, but none of this happened. The more I was teaching yoga to CEOs and CFOs and a lot of big shots, and I saw how empty and meaningless their lives felt at times. And I realized that the struggle to not feel whole is universal. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, successful or unsuccessful. If you feel empty inside, it has nothing to do with any of these outside things. So of course we all need material things to be comfortable in life. But stretching them beyond the point, it just works, backwards against us. So having more of things only becomes a burden. And if you think that you're showing it off to other people, nobody really cares. Again, I've already pointed it out. You're not doing things for other people. Do things for yourself in life. And I would say to find out what it is that you want. Seek solitude. Do not stay in the company of other people all the time. Seek solitude and be authentic. Find your authenticity. Find who you are. Be proud of who you are and try to live that person. Even if you make less money, even if you have less achievements in life, you will feel much more satisfied and peaceful in your heart. And that is what matters at the end of the day, that you go to bed and you're able to fall asleep nicely, and you have a good night's sleep. You will begin to put these things on top of your priority list. At some point in life, how you sleep, how you feel when you wake up, how you go to bed at night, how healthy you are, how clean your mind is. These things, another thing. Because in the period I was in Romania, I also got married and I also got divorced. And I learned one more thing in life is that you cannot control things. Don't try to control things. What you can do is definitely have intentions, have desires, and then go after them. But not to control the outcomes, because you don't know what the outcomes will be. Keep your heart clean, keep your conscience clear, and act in life from that space with truthfulness, with integrity, but it will definitely bear you fruits. It will definitely bring you good things in life. Not necessarily, and you don't want to be attached to the results, to the outcomes of your activities. Just do things because you want to do them. What happens with them is not your business. And you shouldn't worry about it. It's a hard truth to swallow, I know, but maybe, just maybe, that you will see that it makes sense in life. Maybe not now, maybe in some point. Or maybe it already does if you agree with me. Do let me know. You don't control anything, so power doesn't come to you because you can control many things. It comes by letting go, and you let go by understanding deeply, not just by thinking that I will let go. And eventually, 20 years of searching, seeking, trying to make sense of life. One thing that I've really learned well, one of the most important lessons is that you have to accept yourself fully. You have to accept yourself as you are right here, right now, not when you achieve something, not when you look your best, not when other people approve of you. You know, I also wanted to say this example. There were people in my yoga classes. They looked perfect in their bodies, but then they had issues with their body. They didn't like their bodies the way they were. Maybe everybody around them liked them for how they looked, but they themselves did not like the way they looked. So you see, if you're looking for any kind of perfection or satisfaction, deep satisfaction in the things of appearance, the things that appear, the solid material things, it's not there, it's there within. That is why I said to go within. Seek solitude and find it inside. It is already there. It does not come out in the world, because the world is of senses. Senses are limited. You can only see as far. You can only hear as much. You can only taste as much. You can only eat as much. The material life that is stuck between time and space is limited. So all the things that you're going to feel, the happiness, the satisfactions, the pleasures, they're going to be limited only in your being. You are full and whole in your doing. You are not full and whole. So instead of seeking things, to do them in such a way that you become whole will not work. You need to work from the place that you are complete and whole. And you work from there, and you work for the sake of work. Not because it will give you perfection or deep satisfaction. So that is why you need to get inside yourself and know who you are. What you need in life, and there are very few things. And none of these things you really need to seek outside, because they're already within. So you just need to realize that they're within. Okay, we are towards the end of the video now. Just a couple more points. Or just one point is that now in the last 4 years, so I'm 36 right now. Now in the last 4 years, what's ripening in me is simplicity. Simplicity in thinking. Simplicity in living, simplicity in connecting with you. Like the way I'm recording this sitting on my toes. Taking support from this block of stone and just talking simplicity, authenticity. The most genuine way for me is to sit like this right now and talk to you. That's how the best conversation comes out from my head. Because at the end of the day, I'm just speaking to a camera right now. So for me, this is how it works. So, and it doesn't matter how you perceive it. It matters to me that I do justice to what I say and what I do. So realize that in life, simplicity will be the best policy. You don't need hundreds of shoes. You don't need too many cars or big houses. What you want is just happiness. What you want to feel is to feel whole. What you want is love and kindness and compassion. Imagine that every day you wake up, you're filled with love and compassion. You have a couple of people in your life. Not too many, just one. 2, 3 people in life with whom you can just be who you are. You don't have to pretend anything. Just feel. Feel light and easy and relaxed around them and feel whole. All of this you don't need to chase. You already have it, so this is my, advice for you. My suggestion for you. And I hope that you don't have to take 20 years to arrive at this conclusion. All of these now in my head sound very commonsensical. You know, but when you are in the heat of youth, in especially your 20s, it's life you look at life so differently. But as you begin to get older, you know, the coffee in the morning perhaps is the most soothing thing that you look forward to. You're not looking for the world to recognize you, to become famous, or to everybody to know you. It's better to be rich and anonymous than to be famous and poor. All right, I'll see you again very soon. Thank you for talking with me today.